Welcome to History. My name is Miss Walker and I am the Head of History here at Haysfield. I'm going to be talking about why you should study history at Haysfield for your options for GCSE. And I'm going to be talking about why it's such a fantastic choice of modules we have and why you will really enjoy it. I was just trying to think of my favourite module at the moment. It's a tricky one, it does change. I think at the moment I'm probably most interested in Elizabeth because she is such an interesting and powerful female leader in a very male-dominated world. So that's one of the really interesting topics that you will get to do at GCSE History. All of us are passionate about limitless aspirations for all of you, and we are also here to support you at various points across your GCSE. So what will you study? And it is a really exciting and varied course. You will do 2 papers. There are 2 hours for each paper, so 1 hour for each topic, and it is exactly the same percentage. It's worth exactly the same. So we do a period study on Germany. So we look at pre-World War I, we look at Kaiser Wilhelm II, we look at how he's related to the British royal family, we look at some of his very strange characteristics and the way he behaves and the way that he takes Germany into World War I. We then briefly look at World War I as a social study rather than a military study, and then we look at the Weimar Republic that comes out at the end of World War I, that new democracy for Germany, and how that moves across to the Wall Street crash, where obviously things start to go wrong across Europe and across the world really, and how that affects and leads to the rise of the Nazis and Adolf Hitler. So it's a really exciting and engaging topic, and we look at lots of propaganda, and we look at lots of different parts of social life and how the life of women and children changes across these 2 periods. As part of this paper, we also look at conflict and tension, which is the interwar period. So this is the 1920s, the cultural, political changes across this period. So we look at people like Mussolini, there he is in the picture there, and we look at how we go from World War I, where we want peace, after World War I, and we have the Treaty of Versailles, and all of those problems that causes, and how that leads to eventually, of course, World War II. So we look at the tensions building and we look at different countries and different people's attitudes at that point. And then paper 2, shaping the nation. So this is looking at things that have made Britain the country it is today. So we start with a thematic study, and this is not for the light-hearted, but it is also one of my favourite topics. We are looking at health in the people, so we're looking at medicine, surgery, and all of these different things to do with health across from really looking at even the ancients all the way across the medieval period and onwards up until the modern day NHS, looking at the challenges facing the NHS and looking at just how different medicine was across these periods. So looking at what surgery was like without anaesthetic, for example. So that is a bit of a gruesome one, but it's a really fun and interesting one, and it really helps you to understand the world around you today. And then finally, we look at my favourite, so Elizabethan England. So we look at the role of Elizabeth and her struggle to actually become queen. We look at her siblings, her half-siblings, and what happened to them. We look at her father briefly, Henry VIII. And then we look at the fact that this is a very unusual female ruler, a female ruler who chooses to rule without a man, without a husband. We look at the decisions she makes both in foreign policy and domestic policy. We look at the cultural changes in this period, so things like William Shakespeare, theatre, and all of those different things. And it is a really exciting topic. So what skills do you need to be an excellent GCSE historian? Well, history teaches you to ask questions and be really critical, and it gets you to think about, whether it's a newspaper article, whether it is a document you see online, we talk about things like fake news and things like that. It gets you to really think about, why has that been made? What was the purpose of this? When we look at provenance, for example, who was writing it? Why might they be writing it? And what do they want us to believe? And is there anything else going on here? So it's really important in terms of analysis and critical thinking, which are key skills, not just for GCSE, but for your future careers as well. We teach you to research and, again, look at the most accurate information, the most reliable information. It's about good communication skills, being able to present a certain point of view, being able to look at different perspectives and come to conclusions, and being able to debate as well, which again is really important in modern life. And most of all, history is a mystery. It's about problem solving. It's about working out what happened, how it happened, why it might have happened. And all of that makes it a really exciting topic to be learning about. So, if you study history, what kind of future could you imagine? I've got a few famous faces there that did history at a higher level, but lots of people do history at GCSE or A level because of the wide amount of skills and ways it teaches you to do various different things, and it can open a lot of doors for you. So because of the analysis, because of the debating skills, because of all these things you'll be learning, you might be looking at careers in law, politics, often lots of politicians studied history, business, marketing, economics, journalism, teaching and education, further academia, and then obviously the very historical thinking, kind of Indiana Jones style, looking at being an archaeologist or working in a museum or gallery, archive or library. And that's just a few of the many different jobs that you might do if you do history GCSE. So it opens up lots of possibilities. So a few frequently asked questions to check. How is it assessed? There is no coursework. So as I said earlier, there are 2 exams. They have 2 papers in each exam, and their papers are an hour each. So there's 2 hours per exam. So overall 4 hours of exam. There is no coursework. Okay, that's not until A level. Can you do history and geography? We do have historians and geographers because they're so passionate about humanities that they want to do both. And we have some fantastic groups doing that at the moment. So you can put that down as an option, and we will try and accommodate that as best we can. There are 5 lessons a fortnight. Okay, so a little bit more than your Key Stage 3 and similar to your other GCSE options. There's a big myth about history that it's all to do with essay writing and things like that. It is not purely essay writing. There are a couple of papers that have an essay in, but most of the work is 8-mark or 4-mark questions, which is a paragraph or 2 paragraphs. So it is a lot more varied, and I would recommend talking to current Year 11s or current students to get more of a sense of exactly what the papers look like. Are there any trips? Well, I'm going to talk about enrichment opportunities just now. So, we have a historical environment study as part of our Elizabeth module, and that means we get a chance to visit a Tudor environment. So we have been to Montague in the past, and we've been looking at what we can do next. Now, it is set by the exam board, the area that we might want to look at, but I'm really hoping that at some point we could do a trip to the globe. Obviously, COVID dependent and current circumstances will mean that this isn't sure at this point, but this would be a really great opportunity to go and see what it was like to be in a Tudor audience at the theatre. We do medical historical tours of Bath. We're very lucky. We've got some really interesting museums and things in the local area, which means we can get really involved. The history department has great links with the University of Exeter, University of Bristol, and the politics project, which means that we do have opportunities for our historians at GCSE to get involved in some of the political kind of enrichment activities as well. So not purely about what's on the course, but additional things, especially if you're looking at thinking about in the future doing politics at A level, or if you're interested in those kind of career pathways as well. So some really exciting opportunities. So if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. My email's there, or speak to your current history teacher. Remember, you're already studying history GCSE, so you already know some of the topics, and you're already doing GCSE style assessments. So you know what you're doing, and we will really enjoy seeing you in September. Thank you.